All right, all right, all right. Welcome, everybody. Check, check, check. All right, let's get this thing going. See y'all in a minute. Thank you, everybody, for being here. We're going to do it. All right, everybody, what's going on? Welcome to Exposing Powerful Lies. How y'all doing? Glad to be here. Hope you guys are doing well. Today, we're going to have a guest on that I was talking to earlier today. We were sort of having a little spat back and forth, so we're going to have a little conversation about Trump and about the whole situation in America right now in American politics. He's coming from a much different view than I am. Let me move this fan just in case it's coming over the audio. But right now he's charging up his headphones. That was the delay. We were trying to get everything worked out and stuff. So basically, I'm going to be starting the show talking about, sort of my take on the debate last night and give you guys my take on that. And then in about 20 minutes, once his headphones are all charged up, he'll call in and then we'll start the actual discussion. John Connor asks, whom is guest? Well, it's our homie. Where is he? It's our homie Block Party Vintage up in the house. I was spatting with him earlier, dude. We were lashing out at each other, mainly me lashing out, but we were talking back and forth, and I was like, well, how about we just have the conversation? How about we just have the conversation? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be playing some videos. I'm going to be talking about the debate last night, and then we're going to let him charge up his headphones for the next 20 minutes, and then we will get to it. So, yeah, thank you all so much for being here. Please like and share, and what do you call it? Like and share the streams out wherever you can, and make sure to support the show however you can, whether that's commenting, hanging out in the live chats like all our homies, or by sending in super chats. We got the super chat links in the chat and in the description and in the pinned comment section in the live chat. PayPal, Cash App, and Venmo. I really appreciate all you guys that do that, that help support me, the little ice cube internet hobo. I appreciate that very much because the ice season's winding down. So anything helps. And yeah. So the guest is saying he's ready, he's charged. Honestly, I would charge it up, Blocksky, if you can hear me. I would hop out of the call and charge it up because I got something I got a video I want to play in the beginning. I want to talk about the debate last night. So if it's cool with you, plug it in, keep it plugged in. That way they don't die halfway through. Like, make sure it's good and charged. And even if it is charged, oh, he said it's 100%. I'll wait till you finish. All right, sounds good. Sounds good. Yeah, I want to show a video from Paul Joseph Watson that he just uploaded. I think probably 30 minutes ago. It was a really good breakdown. It's the best, most concise breakdown I saw yet of the sort of blatant and bald-faced lies that Kamala Harris was giving yesterday. We've seen a lot of different takes since that debate. I was very much excited for it, ready for it, but I did expect it to kind of go the way that it went last night. That first CNN debate was suspiciously fair, and obviously, we kind of got the idea once we saw how the Biden-Trump debate went that, okay, they were suspiciously fair. They were way fairer than they normally would be, and so it sort of seemed like the planned execution of Biden. Sort of seemed like they were just setting Biden up to fall. And that has a sort of double usage. Sorry about the planes flying by. It has a sort of double usage. Number one, it gets Biden out of the picture, which they seem to have wanted. And number two, it gives Trump the sort of false confidence, the sort of, just false confidence that once he goes into the debate with Kamala Harris, he thinks, oh, I'm going to crush it. I'm going to do great. I don't even need to prepare. And I think that's something that is it speaks to Trump's sort of personality and the sort of the platform that he runs on, that he doesn't have to go into a cabin for 2 weeks and prepare with a mock Kamala Harris and, figure out all of his lines and sound bites and talking points. He just goes off the top of the head. And that's one of the things I really like about Trump is that he's willing to go into the lion's den, sit there for 3 hours, sit there with NBC, ABC, CNN, sit there and just let them ask as many pointed questions as they want without having to worry about what if the real me comes out? Because as he said yesterday in the debate, I'm an open book. I'm an open book, I come out there, I give my takes. I open myself up for questions from the American people, from journalists, and, my entire life has been recorded and investigated and combed through, and every embarrassing thing I've ever done or everything bad thing I've ever done has been out there for everybody to see. So it's just kind of a stark contrast between the two of them, whereas Kamala Harris is hidden from public scrutiny. She is hidden from public questions and unscripted questions in an entire month of campaigning since she was installed as the Democrat nominee. She's done one interview that was edited and scripted and basically just totally astroturfed. She's terrified of the real her coming out, whereas Trump has nothing to fear in that sense. He's not a perfect person. He's got a lot of character flaws. If I could pick a candidate, if I could pick, a nominee for the opposition to the establishment, I would pick somebody else. I wouldn't necessarily pick Trump. He's old. He's too old. He's not quick on his feet enough. He's not calculating and careful enough with his words to really go toe-to-toe with the professional liars of the establishment. But he's the guy that's in the position to actually defeat them, So it is what it is, man. He's the one that's there. He's the guy that we got. And unfortunately, that's the choice. And so there's a lot of people who disagree with my views. The guest today is a guy that disagrees with my views. Slow boy here. No, I love Israel more. No, I do. I loved Israel since the day I was born. No, you. Right. Yeah, there are definitely issues where they are, sort of on the same boat. I don't think that even on the topic of Israel, I don't think that they're 100% on the same boat. They definitely pander to Israel. Sadly, that's the way American politics works. Israel is a very powerful lobby in Washington D.C. Israel is a very they have their tentacles wrapped around our institutions, and so it's at the point where if you want to win the election, you better kiss the ring. You better pander to Israel, or they're going to spend millions and millions of dollars fighting you and making sure you lose. And so people like to harp on Israel. They like to focus on Israel and say, oh, see, it's all the same, bro. It's just two sides of the same coin. It's all the same. It's like, no, that it's far more complex than that. And it's so easy to armchair quarterback and sit here and go, oh, yeah, because of Israel, he's not real. When it's much more difficult to actually follow what these people say, watch the interviews, watch the debates, watch the rallies, listen to what their positions are, look at their history, look at their life, analyze all of the information, and try to have a nuanced and balanced and realistic interpretation of what you're seeing. It's far easier to have this sort of oversimplified on both sides. There's people who love Trump that do it. There's people who love Trump that think he's like this super good guy and he's fighting the bad guys and it's just, he's perfect, he's great, he's amazing, which is ridiculous. And we all point that out all the time and talk about how ridiculous that is. It's the same for the other side who like to point at, one thing they don't like, or Israel or warp speed or all of these things and go, so see, he's controlled opposition. See, he's bad. He's the bad guy. And they're all just bad guys. And that's just the way, it's an oversimplification. Trump is an imperfect person who has basic common sense things that he wants. I'm sure he's got his own personal motivations for wanting to be elected as well. Probably the same kind of motivations many of us would. Having children, having children that you leave this world to and wanting it to not go burning and crashing into the ground. I think that's a pretty big motivation for anybody in that position that isn't, taking a paycheck to destroy it themselves. So I think it's valid to critique Trump. I think especially people who are voting for him should be critiquing him. They should be calling him out. They should be holding his feet to the fire. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But over the last couple of streams, I've been pushing so hard for people to have a nuanced take of this, to actually analyze the information, the available facts and evidence, and try to actually understand like what's really happening, who he really is, who are the candidates actually, what is the agenda of the establishment actually, what are they actually trying to do, does he or does he not pose a threat to them, do they or do they not want him to, be anywhere but the White House. It certainly seems like they are throwing everything they possibly have at him to try to ensure that he does not win. They simply cannot allow him to win. Jesky says, trust the plan. JFKJ. They can't allow him to win. They cannot allow him to take power for a couple of reasons. I shared a clip the other day where Don Jr. and Tucker Carlson were talking, and basically Don Jr. Was told by Tucker, isn't it about time that somebody gets prosecuted? Isn't it about time that some of these people are held accountable, since clearly taking the high road does not work, since clearly letting Hillary Clinton off because she's the wife of the president, and we can't have the wife of the president in jail. How would that look? And we don't do these kinds of things in America, this sort of naive boomer mentality that Trump walked into the office with. Obviously that didn't work. Obviously he underestimated their influence, their corruption, and their bitterness, and just their power madness. And so Tucker goes, isn't it about time somebody gets prosecuted? Isn't it about time, the Republicans actually have some teeth and actually uphold the law? And Don Jr. said, we have to do that. At this point, the only way that things are going to get better is if we fight fire with fire. 2 months later, they shot Trump in the head. And it's my personal belief that that is a large reason why they did that. Because anybody who's paying attention can tell you that Trump fully realizes that he has to, this is the game. And he has to hold them accountable because they're too dangerous not to be. And this is the number one reason that they are trying to keep Trump out of the White House. Because they are terrified of what he's going to do. Now, anybody who comes on here and tells you he's for sure going to do this or he's for sure going to do that is lying. Anybody that tries pushing a, what's the one letter that will not be named, one of these conspiracy theories, like, oh, he's a superhero, he's gonna lock up the deep state and mass arrests and all this stuff. They're lying. Nobody can say for sure what he's doing, but it's a safe bet that that is absolutely like the plan. It's not. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out. He's been very careful about what he says. He's been very careful about how much he lets up on that. When Dr. Phil asked him, hey, can't we let bygones be bygones? Can't you just forgive and forget and move on? What did he say? I think you'll be very happy with what you see, and he left it at that. He doesn't want to talk at length about it because he's in the middle of an election. He's trying to win, and he knows that he's got to play to the middle. This entire election, this entire campaign has been all about undecided voters, neutral voters, independent voters, people who are unsure of who to vote for, what side they wanna be on. That's who's going to win the election. At least all of the political analysts, at least all the people in the Trump campaign certainly seem to believe that. And so that's the way that he's been running this campaign, has been trying his best to form a coalition government, bring on ex-Democrats, Tulsi Gabbard, RFK Jr., bring on people who are going to hopefully draw people from the middle over to the Trump side of the aisle. This is the entire strategy because they're trying their best to get swing states, to try to get undecided voters. And so he's got to be very careful not to come off sounding like a conspiracy guy, not to come off sounding like a radical. It's why he's been talking about IVF. It's why he's been saying he's not going to support a national abortion ban, because in order to win this election, he has to pander to that group. It's common sense. It's obvious. Every single, respectable independent journalist and political analyst has laid it out. It's super obvious. And yet you've got these purity, political purists, these purity spiralers on Twitter and on YouTube and on Instagram who freak out. Trump said he's not going to ban abortion. How can I, in good conscience, vote for him? Trump is the reason that Roe versus Wade is overturned. Trump is the reason why states have now banned abortion. Trump is the reason why that's been allowed to happen. That's a good thing. Yeah, obviously, all of us, want to see abortion banned. Obviously, all of us Christians, consider it murder. Number one, we're not the ones who are fully in charge here. We have a voice the way that everybody does in our system. Sure, it's not the best system that could exist, but that's the way the system works. You can't blame Trump for that. You can't blame Trump because the states are supposed to have the powers that are not allotted to the federal government, that obviously abortion should be a state's issue, and that people should be able to have more of a say on what the laws in their country actually are. It's like common sense stuff. People want to freak out about abortion. He's not a Christian. He's not an Orthodox Christian, at least. He doesn't share the same values that we do. And number one, main thing, he's trying to win an election in the United States of America, a place which is not a very pious nation, a place where there is a lot of degenerates. How can you expect him to run on some ultra-conservative, Christian value platform when most Christians don't even like to vote? How can you expect that? It's unrealistic, it's naive, and it's really, immature view of politics in general. And they want to blame Trump for that, and as I've said many times, blame yourself for that. Blame the fact that we, as Americans, are not pious enough, on the whole, to be able to hope to see a candidate with the actual chance of winning by running on the merits of and the values of Christianity. Now, there's an argument to be made there. Well, because none of the candidates are, share our values, then we shouldn't vote at all. And normally I would probably agree with that, but because of the sheer divide, the sheer contrast in the two choices this time around, and because of where we are at in the timeline, in the course of history, this is a turning point for our country. If he gets in, there is a very good chance that we will be propelled into a better direction as a nation. We'll be propelled into a much better future, potential future, as a nation. If he loses, I don't want to be a sensationalist. I don't want to say, oh, everything's over. If he loses, I'm an Orthodox Christian. I'm going to keep my faith. I'm going to, God's got the last say at the end. Things can always change. Things can always take a turn for the better. But 4 more years of the direction that we've been going, and by the time that 4 years is over, the 20 million people that they have allowed to flood our border are going to be citizens. your vote is going to be watered down beyond recognition. Your voice, your ability to affect change in your own country is going to be stolen from you, just as your resources and your tax money and your land and everything else has been stolen from you. It's a very important election, and so I've been very vehemently outspoken about how important it is that we do vote, especially as Christians. We do vote for the candidate who at least respects, life enough to give the issue to us, rather than have a oppressive federal government give us edicts from on high about what the laws are going to be. Who at least respects the system enough to want to have it function properly. If Trump can win, hopefully he can do something about election integrity and we can actually have more fair elections. If Trump even gets 1% of what he wants to be done, it's worth it to vote for him. If Trump gets nothing he wants done, he says he's going to do, if he gets none of that done at all, but we just don't have Kamala as president, we just don't have the globalists as the leaders, then that's worth it to get him in there. And for the people like our guest, and I'm not going to talk too much about his views until he gets on here, but who have told me, it's a charade, he's no different than the globalists or whatever, kind of that's my takeaway from what he said at one point. Well, okay, if you're right, then there's no point, it don't matter who you vote for. If you're wrong, you should vote for him anyways, just in case you're wrong, dude. Okay, maybe he's fake, maybe he's not. Right, and my argument is that there's a mountain of evidence to show that he's not fake, that he is actually sincerely who he projects himself to be, not who the boomers think he is, not who the Trump sycophants think he is, but who he projects himself to be, how he speaks, what he says he believes, what he campaigns on, what he did as president, is who he is. It's not a charade. It's not a facade. That's why he's able to put himself out there for 3 hours at a time. That's why he does 4-hour rallies. That's why he does these things, because it's not a facade. It's obviously who he is. And anybody who's paying attention can tell you that. It's not hard to see somebody when they're putting on a facade. And when they put on a facade, they don't put themselves out there for 4 hours every other day. They don't put themselves into pointed questions and people that come and pick and poke and prod and sift through them to try to find the weak spot. That's what they've been doing for the last 8 years. They couldn't find anything at all. Anyway, so that's sort of my general idea about that. And so before we bring on our guests, I would like to share this video sort of going over the debate. Now, quickly, the debate with Kamala Harris, while obviously Trump could have done better, there's no denying that, it was 100% an optics war. It was a 3-on-1. It was a completely rigged game. They had, obviously they've most likely gave Kamala the questions beforehand. Both of the debate moderators were very much in favor of one side and were very much biased towards one side. There was a tweet that I saw earlier of a guy who took count of all of the different things that happened in the debate. Let me see if I screenshotted it. We've got Trump was fact-checked 4 times. Kamala Harris was fact-checked 0 times. The hosts and the moderators, they pressed Trump 6 times for follow-ups, and they pressed Kamala 0 times for follow-ups. Trump made, according to this person, 14 false statements. Harris made 16 false statements. So obviously, just on the evidence alone, the debate was clearly biased. The moderators were clearly biased. And all of the liberals and Democrats that I know, I've talked to them today, and I've gotten nothing but, yeah, that was definitely biased. Yeah, that was definitely unfair. They shouldn't have done that. And good on Trump for walking into a debate that he knew was going to be biased. And right before the debate happened, I was telling my driver at work, he shouldn't even do this debate. It doesn't serve him at all. The only reason he did this debate is because of what he said leading up to it, which is the American people deserve a debate. They deserve to hear what both sides want. And I'm sure he thought, this is going to go great for me. I'm going to do great. I'm going to kill it. I'm going to crush it. Unfortunately, Kamala Harris is a professional liar. She has the entire weight and power and might of the political establishment and their psychological mass manipulation tactics to be able to get her to have, the talking points and the, the sort of, the strategies for optics so well rehearsed. And it seemed like at least the moderators knew how to use Trump's own personality against him. Now, as I was watching this, I'm going, why do we only have 2 minutes for an answer? The most important election, right? The presidential election, and during the debate, each person gets 2 minutes to talk about an issue. It should be at least 5 minutes. They should at least be able to get a thought out and not be rushing against the gun. Oh my gosh, I got to get the answer out. That plays against Trump's sort of nature. He's a long-winded person. He's easily distracted. He goes on long tangents, and they knew that. Kamala, throughout the entire debate, was just outright lying, was talking about things, Project 2025, all of these things that she knew were false, because what did I say in the beginning? Her entire thing was aimed at low information voters, at moderates, at the average person that doesn't spend all day watching politics like I do, who doesn't follow along every single day, who doesn't look deeper into the issues, but who Googles everything that comes up, sees the Snopes article, sees the CNN or ABC or Newsweek article, and then goes, okay, that's what it is, and sets the phone down and goes back to, playing video games or, listening to pop music or whatever. That's who their targeted is. That's who they think is going to win this election. Somebody says, didn't she use the good people? Yeah, she trotted out the tired and debunked Charlottesville lie that even Snopes debunked. She trotted out the bloodbath lie that was already shown to be misleading and false. She said that he would be in favor of a national abortion ban, which every liberal knows is not true. Because it's so ridiculous, dude. All the conservatives are pissed off at Trump for not supporting a abortion ban. So it's just ridiculous. My brother says IVF is another huge issue. I had no clue about IVF being a sin and what's involved in it. Father Josiah Trenham just did a great video on the matter. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I didn't know much about it either. I know a little bit more about it now. But the whole point is that this is the tactics he's using to try to win, because if he wins, he can have good things happen for this country. So right now he's going to campaign on a lot of things, but we all know what Trump actually cares about. He's got a few key things that he really, really cares about that he thinks is going to help the country. Close the border, drill for American oil, encourage and incentivize American industry, heavy tariffs on outsourced goods, heavy tariffs on our enemies, get other countries to pay their fair share in trade deals. Simple. That's Trump. So if he wins, it's not really about what he campaigns on, what his personal opinions are on this, that, and the other thing. It's about, if he wins, there's a good chance that at least some of that will get done. And even if none of that gets done, it's still better than having Kamala Harris, who we already know, she said on day one, if Congress refuses to act, she's going to make an executive order to do a buyback program, an assault weapons confiscation program. It's going to be terrible, dude. And it's such a shame. Like, it's such an absolute shame that we have in this country all of these low information voters who are so easily influenced by celebrities and pop culture and by TikTok and by just garbage, junk food for the mind. They don't actually follow events. They don't actually look deeper into it. It's a damn shame. And what makes me even madder is that we have people on our side, in our circles, people who came from conspiracy theory movements and conspiracy theory groups online, people who should at least know enough to be able to critically think and to analyze people's speech, who are out there who are going, screw Trump, dude. Screw Trump, dude. It's like, are you blind? Do you not understand the context of the situation in America right now? I'm not the Trump sycophant guy. I'm not the guy that's like, he's a hero, he's a savior. No, he's a naive boomer. But him winning directly benefits me, period. He directly benefits my family, period. We should all understand we have a vested interest in seeing him win, which is why I've been so vehemently supporting of him. Not because I think he's Q hero man, but because it's very common sense obvious that, closing the border and deporting even 10% of the people who are here, allowing the Border Patrol to do their job, pretty obvious stuff. All right, so real quick, before we bring on Blocksky, this is going to be the last thing, and then we're going to bring him on, and we're going to go through our whole conversation. Shit, hang on. Something's playing now. I gotta exit out some of these tabs I got. Okay, share screen. right here. So this is a newest video from Paul Joseph Watson. Hopefully that this doesn't get me taken down, but this just quickly goes over all of the lies of the debate. It's only a 10-minute video. Let's get to it.
Americans excitedly tuned into last night's debate, expecting to see a one-on-one battle between Kamala and Trump. But unbeknownst to everyone, two more people decided to insert themselves into proceedings. The ABC News moderators. Before it all even began, ABC News gave Kamala a specially designed smaller podium so she wouldn't look tiny compared to Trump.
So they're putting, this is the stage. I mean, we're a little blinded where we're sitting, but the podium's here. Harris is going to be on the right.
Then the oh-so-impartial moderators proceeded to fact-check Trump all night, while failing to fact-check Harris even once. Project 25.
What you're going to hear tonight is a detailed and dangerous plan called Project 2025 that the former president intends on implementing if he were elected again.
Wrong. Project 2025 was written by the Heritage Foundation. It's not.
Okay, Slowboy says, pause it every 30 seconds to do commentary or else they may strike you. AI detects other people's content that is copyrighted. That is very true. I know that well because I get struck for it every time I do a video because I use the intro song. The determining factor is whether or not the owner of that content does not want it to be used. That's the main thing. And so I've streamed PJW's stuff before and I haven't gotten any issues over it, which is why I'm more comfortable in letting it roll. But I will be stopping it here and there. I mean, this example right here, Project 2025, I've seen all over TikTok, all over Facebook and Instagram. You might not see it because if you're a more conservative person, your feed on social media is going to be, around you. The algorithm understands what you like. But on the average liberal's TikTok, it is just filled with the most bone-thin, soy boy type, vegan type dudes on there. Like, Trump's gonna be a dictator. Project 2025. He's gonna ban abortion. He's gonna become a dictator on day one. And actually, did you know he has this plan called Project 2025? And he's like a big evil Nazi guy. That's what the average liberal is seeing every day. Every single time they watch a YouTube video, it's Kamala Harris, it's Bernie Sanders, it's one of these establishment whores, these establishment prostitutes, on there going, Trump's a dictator, he hates gay people, he hates puppies, he hates abortion bans, he's gonna sign it into law, he already promised, he was having a tea party with Putin, and he said, for sure, I'm gonna lie to everybody, but I'm actually gonna ban abortion. If Trump came out and said he would ban abortion, his base would celebrate it, everybody would cheer it on, so there's no reason why he would hide that, but that's the narrative they're going with. So the fact that she, out the gate, used that was so infuriating. It was such a difficult debate to watch for people who actually know and who actually follow politics because it was just a spitting in our face. It was I'm not even going to think of a clever lie. I'm going to say nothing but easily falsifiable lies the entire night because I don't care that you know that I'm lying. This isn't about you. We don't give a crap. Yeah, vote for Trump. We're worried about people in Pennsylvania who have better things to do than follow along politics, who check their little CNN news feed or check their Associated Press. Oh, okay. And that's it. That's what they know, and that's what they take to the voting booth. Oh, it was painful to watch. It was so painful to watch because you just know, unfortunately, like it or not, that's the majority of the American people. Like it or not, the majority of the Americans don't know how to think critically, don't know how to sift through the garbage, and it's not really their fault. You shouldn't have to. There's better things, there's more important things to do in life than to become an expert in mass manipulation, public deception. I do this, I've been following Trump, listening to every speech since he started in 2016, because I find it entertaining and it's something I like to do. It's not something I recommend other people do because it's there's better things to do in life. I just happen to be a person that enjoys this whole Trump, era of politics. But it's just it just breaks my heart knowing that this works. This actually works to just lie blatantly. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of people like PJW to call it out, but that's going to only go so far. That's going to bounce around in the conservative, right-wing, right-leaning echo chamber, and the people on liberal TikTok are not going to hear it.
Trump's plan, and he's disavowed it several times.
President Trump will give you a minute here to respond.
Good.
Number one, I have nothing to do, as you know, and as she knows better than anyone, I have nothing to do with Project
A
2025.
so-called abortion ban.
If Donald Trump were to be reelected, he will sign a national abortion ban.
Wrong. Trump said repeatedly he won't sign a national abortion ban. Trump supported mobs of white supremacist neo-Nazis in Charlottesville and called them very fine people.
Let's remember Charlottesville, where there was a mob of people carrying tiki torches, spewing anti-Semitic hate. And what did the president then at the time say? There were fine people on each side.
Wrong. Even far left.
That is the amount of respect she has for the American people. And again, that's not even something, I mean, I can be mad at her for doing it because it's wrong to lie. But again, it works. That is actually how dumb, to use that word, or how uninformed the average American is. That even their freaking far left Snopes, like, literally just play the clip of him talking about that, using those words. He literally says, "I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis." The average person isn't going to be aware of that. It's so frustrating.
Snopes admits it's a hoax. Trump made it clear at the time he was talking about people who were upset at statues being removed, not white supremacists who he specifically disavowed.
And you had people, and I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally. But you had many people in that group other than neo-Nazis and white nationalists, okay?
Trump said there'd be a literal bloodbath in America if he lost the election.
Donald Trump, the candidate, has said in this election there will be a bloodbath.
Wrong. He was
Again, the fact that she knows that that's a lie, obviously. I understand the average American voter doesn't understand that, but this is a politician. This is somebody who lives, eats, sleeps, and breathes politics. She knows full well what he was talking about when he said the cats and dogs, they're eating the cats and dogs. She knew full well that Project 2025 is BS. She knew full well that the bloodbath and the good people lies were just that. They were lies. And that's what makes it so frustrating, is you know exactly what you're doing. Oh my gosh, it was hard to watch. There was a few points last night where I was ready to just toss in the towel. I'm like, I can't watch this. This is just so frustrating. Yeah, when he called her a Marxist and she was smiling from ear to ear. Notice how she did not respond to that. Didn't respond to that. Notice how she didn't respond to when he said, Biden hates your guts, by the way. Just letting you know that little inside baseball. Biden hates you. Didn't say anything about that either. That was very telling.
talking about the economy, tariffs, and the auto industry.
We're going to put a 100% tariff on every single car that comes across the line, and you're not going to be able to sell those cars.
Yeah, she goes, oh, that's the Trump sales tax. Oh, the average consumer is going to have to pay that. No, you dumb monkey. You dumb, stupid prostitute, dude. The average consumer is not going to have to pay because he puts a 20% tariff on China. People are going to buy the products that aren't coming from China. They're going to buy the American-made products. That's the whole point. And I wouldn't even bother mentioning this because it's just such common sense, obvious. That's why he's campaigning on this. But I have seen all over Twitter these leftists who literally think that they're pulling a gotcha when they're like, actually tariffs hurt the consumer. Actually, they don't if there's actual competition. Duh.
Get elected.
And quickly before we move on, thank you so much to Deborah. She sent in a $10 super chat. And she said, great show. Thank you so much. And guys, if you like the work that I do, please consider sending in a super chat to the super chat links here. Cash App, PayPal, and Venmo. I could really use the help. And so if you're watching this after the fact, tomorrow, whenever, I definitely, any tips are appreciated and truly, grateful for them. And if you can't, then consider liking the stream, sharing it out, because we're in election year. YouTube is not doing me any favors. And so, anyways.
Now, if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath for the whole. That's going to be the least of it. It's going to be a bloodbath for the country. That'll be the least of it. but they're not going to sell those cars.
There's no credible reports of Haitian migrants eating cats and dogs.
I want to clarify here. You bring up Springfield, Ohio, and ABC News did reach out to the city manager there. He told us there have been no credible reports of specific claims of pets being harmed, injured, or abused by individuals.
Wrong. There's police reports, testimony by eyewitnesses, and video of people literally being arrested for it.
Yeah, there's so much to get into on this. I'm just gonna bring on Blocksky now, just because we need to get this going. I know he's got places to be and things to do, so I'll finish up that video after. Welcome to the show, Blocksky. You're probably gonna have to unmute when you get started, but I really appreciate you doing this. Again, to the audience, sorry for the airplanes going on in the background. Like I understand it's frustrating, but this is the porch stream we got going. So, Blocksky, I really appreciate you doing this. I know we had a sort of heated exchange earlier, but like I said during that exchange, like I'm not actually mad at you. I get all passionate about this stuff because I'm in it, I'm living it every day, and I'm really trying hard to explain to people why like we need everybody in the who's aware of the globalists, who's aware of the New World Order, to understand like the consequences of this, and to at the very least not spread a message or boost a signal of like, no, it's pointless, don't bother engaging, because that, in my belief, is a victory for the establishment. When you check out, when you go, oh, it's all fake, it doesn't matter, nothing, none of this matters, none of this is real, you're just giving them like a Christmas gift wrapped in a little bow. That's exactly what they want us to do. So that's sort of my take on the whole thing.
Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Do you want to go through the
convo?
comment thread thread from earlier?
Yep. So this was this thread was on a video that I posted of what appears to be a Haitian migrant in Springfield, Ohio. You know, the body cam footage of the lady, and they're asking her, "Did you eat the cat? Did you eat that cat?" Now, I've seen articles from that local area that said that woman was a resident, but they bust in a lot of Haitian refugees and asylum seekers, and they gave them driver's licenses. I saw a report from an independent journalist who was walking around interviewing the locals, and they were saying these people have cars and driver's licenses. So it hasn't been confirmed whether or not she was an illegal immigrant, a refugee, a citizen, whatever, but they're certainly trying to fast track them on citizenship, so I think that's probably some fakery and some fraud going on there. But so Block Party said, you're surprised that the mainstream media lied? And I said, when did I say I was surprised? I'm not surprised. I'm calling it out. He said, He said, well, no, that's the truth. I'm not shocked that the mainstream media lie. That's what I expect them to do. But my whole thing is I'm trying to use my platform to call out their lies, to hopefully reach people who aren't aware of this stuff or who are on the fence, or, you know what I mean? Like, I understand, like, I'm probably in a little bit of an echo chamber. I'm sure the people who follow me understand this stuff already. But I'm just trying to do my part on YouTube, in real life, on Instagram, on all of my platforms, to just, like, point the stuff out, you know? So that's what I'm at. I'm not, you know, I'm not shocked. I mean, come on, you know me. I'm not surprised.
No, right. Well, so, I'm kind of, well, see, like, we went through the last 8 years together, like all of us did. And so, like, everything that happened in the last 8 years, like, being disillusioned, where I'm at with it.
Yeah, you're
I'm not black pilled, but
right.
I don't have faith in this system. Like,
Me neither. Me neither.
And like, I was trying to watch some of your, try to watch it through some of your last couple of streams and like take notes on what you said. And it's just you're invested in this, and I'm not invested in it.
Sure, and I respect that. I mean, we
after
come
everything
from the same
that happened in the past. Right. Well, if you want to go ahead with the thread, we can kind of rip off of each other if you want.
Yeah, we come from the same place. You know, I am definitely invested because I have it directly impacts my life. Like, I'm living 2 blocks from a migrant shelter. Like, I know what's going to happen.
And I heard when you said that on the last stream. Right. And I can sympathize with that.
Yeah,
I just don't think that voting for Trump's going to stop that. I don't think that's going to stop no matter. I mean, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead with what you were saying.
after this election, those people aren't going to be cooped up in hotels anymore. They're going to be bought. They're going to buy them apartments. Our senator in Buffalo has already announced that they're going to buy them apartments. They're going to fast track them to citizenship. These people are not going to assimilate. They're going to be on our streets. They're going to be committing crimes. They're going to be taking over. And even if they act perfectly peaceably, even if they they follow the laws, they are diluting our power of our vote. They're diluting our voice and our ability to affect the politics that we live in. I don't have faith in the system in the sense that I think that it's going to make a utopia. I think it's going to solve all of our problems. But, I kind of have to get into my whole view on it because it sort of is, like I said, nuanced and complex. It's not that I think this is a great system or that Trump's going to do everything right. It's just that Trump has broken through the system. If you look at the sort of charade, the theater that did play out our entire lives, George Bush versus Al Gore, left and right dialectic, right? That's the dialectic that they played. Well, how did they do that? They had primaries where they would always have a nationalist or a populist candidate in the primaries. And they would make sure to funnel the populists and the nationalists out of the running before the actual primaries were done. And then the populist and nationalist candidate would have to endorse the establishment candidate. And then the election would be the left and right hand of the establishment. Why? Because they needed money to run their campaigns. Because they needed the establishment press, the corporate media, to promote their messaging. So it was a rigged game that they were always going to lose. Trump, here's a guy who's got billions of dollars of his own money. He doesn't need their money necessarily to run a successful campaign. He doesn't need their money and have to bend to their interests. And he was already a celebrity with a big voice. So he was able to utilize all of these tools to break through that typical theater and was able to actually get enough awareness to win the election. Now, they didn't mean for that to happen. Trump could have easily lost the election. They all thought he was going to lose, and so they underestimated the ability of alternative media, places like InfoWars, places like YouTube, of people out there spreading the stuff around and getting it to the common people. They didn't seem to understand that mainstream media was losing its influence rapidly and alternative media was gaining influence rapidly. And so they clearly were not expecting Trump to win. He won it. Even Trump himself was not expecting to win. He came into Washington, D.C. knowing nothing and nobody. Didn't know how to be president, didn't know any of the characters involved. And so all of us who were living through 2016 expecting this guy to be, deep state killer, we were all disappointed in him. Why do you have John Bolton in your cabinet? Why do you have Anthony Fauci, in your, why are you doing this? This is so ridiculous.
Right.
Mike Pompeo, what the hell are you thinking? He didn't know any of these people, dude. He had to rely on people giving him advice saying, oh, no, John Bolton's great. He was the guy for this and that. Trump said that. That's why I keep telling people, watch the interviews with Trump. He lays all this out in black and white. He goes, yeah, these people are scumbags. Yeah, these people are crypto, hidden deep state people. I didn't know that. Now I do. This is the best version of Trump that we could ever ask for. He knows. The
nuanced view that you have, me and you have that same view.
Yeah.
We both understand things the same way. We're in the same circle. You got an audience member on the thing that I thought we were a little cooler than that, but that's okay. I'm just teasing them. But
no, I just meant to say
everything you said.
I didn't know how to list that, and I'm probably going to change the title by the end just to have better.
Bro, I'm just teasing.
Yeah. Okay.
But look, your views, the nuanced view that you have is very articulated. I agree with it 100%. I don't even disagree with that.
I appreciate.
It's just, I tried to take a couple of notes from your last couple of streams with Mano, and I'm kind of I lean towards his angle a little bit more. I think I kind of have the view that we could be putting you're invested, and I totally understand. We don't have to go. We can go through the thread if you want. It doesn't matter. But I see I kind of after listening to those streams a little bit earlier, I kind of see why you are so invested in what it is that you you're I'm a little older than you. I think I'm almost 40 now. So as you get a little older, maybe 10 years from now, you might have my attitude, but we're all on the same page with everything about him. Is he was the wrench in the machine that they got thrown in and everything and upset the whole system and I'm there with you on all that.
Yeah.
It's just yeah, and I kind of have the view also that like is he absorbed into some like faction of the deep state? Probably, I think maybe
Could be.
more like a possibility.
I think
But
it's more likely
like
he's trying to start his own faction, or that he's
see,
already started his own faction.
I don't think he has that. I don't think he has enough. I mean, like you said just a minute ago, he's pulled from one this way, pulled another way.
Yeah.
Like you said, he didn't really know what he was doing the first time. But
Yep.
like, does he have enough power and influence and like to be, I mean, I don't know. Like, I just don't have faith in that.
I don't
And
think so, but I could see him thinking he does.
well, see,
Dude's
no,
got a
well,
huge
I see.
ego, you know.
Well, see, I'm with you on most everything. It's just after the coup and everything, it's just like I'm
Yeah.
just like I'm really just like so done.
No, I hear
Um,
ya. So was I, and that's I've done these streams, and like my YouTube channel's garbage, so I don't expect you or anybody to like watch that and stay up to date on that. But I have talked at length about COVID and about how COVID happened and how his reaction to it is understandable. Like if you or I were in his position, right?
right,
Like
understandable.
how the hell
Totally
are you?
agree.
Yeah,
Understandable. Right. Yeah. I mean, what would I have done? I mean, I don't know. I mean,
right.
I can only imagine what it was like to, I mean, all of that stuff is considered and it's unspoken.
Hmm.
It's understood,
Yeah,
like between us and our group and everybody that listens and everything.
yeah,
Like
and
that's
I
all.
think it's
That doesn't have to be stated. It's all. It's
sure.
all. If you like you said, if you're paying attention, you understand what's going on. I mean, you understand all that.
Yeah,
It's just I'm
I think
just
people
kind of
are
so
unfair,
I'm just
like with
really
their
done. I'm
critique
just really
about that.
done.
Yeah, and I
Right,
respect
but go
that.
ahead.
I do respect that. I think people are just unfairly critical of COVID because it was such a ridiculous time, and it was a clear attack from the establishment. It was a clear attack from the deep state. I mean, the NHS in the Wuhan lab, all of it. I mean, it's just so obvious. It's just like the shooting. It's tied and yoked to the establishment and to the American bureaucracy that it's undeniable. It's like we know who did that. We know who launched that, and we know why they did it. It was a transfer of wealth. It was to throw a monkey wrench in Trump's ability to actually get other more important things done. And so it was to throw him off. Like, so people want to. I see a lot of people, not just you, but like a lot of people who call out warp speed all the time, and that's kind of why I was so mad when we were texting, because it wasn't really that I was mad at you. It was just me venting about my frustration with the entire thing. Like I've been having this conversation with so many people, not just you. You know what I mean? And so that was me
Right,
like
right.
reacting to this
Right.
conversation I've had, and like other people are warp speed, bro, and it's like, dude, like they don't bring arguments to the table. They don't actually say like they don't have the complex, nuanced discussion. They just go warp speed. He's fake, dude, and it just drives
Well,
me
I mean,
nuts.
and that's really easy to do. Just to say, and that's not really worthwhile to just say, yeah, everything's like you said. Like I said, I saw you say earlier. Um, everything's it's all it's like everything's all controlled and
Yeah,
like it's like you said, however you said it, but
yeah,
um, it's not that way. I mean, it's lots of things going on.
yep,
It's lots of nuance to it. It's
yep,
just I can invest in my heart and soul like you are into it. It's just really difficult for me to do.
yeah.
That's
Well,
just kind of where I'm at.
and that's kind of what I was saying earlier is that there's better things and there's more important things in life than this shit. Like I wish that this wasn't at the knife's edge that it's on, so I could just ignore politics, not bother to vote, maybe not, but like but there's better things to do, and so none of us should have to do this. But the fact is like right now we're in this normalcy bias where we're comfortable enough to think like, oh well, whatever, it doesn't matter. But like I'm trying to make people realize like, dude, no, the barbarians are at the gates. The crusaders are at the city walls. Like we are at the edge of the cliff right now, and
And
like
see, I can sympathize with that view.
all it requires of
Uh,
us is to cast a vote, and that's it. Like you don't have to follow along. You don't have to. All you got to do is just put the vote in for the guy who's calling out the group that we've all collectively been fighting against for how many years? 10 years. We all have been
right.
fucking trying to talk about the New World Order, expose the agenda, wake the people up. And now God has given us such a gift that there's a candidate who's actually up there on the stage who, for all of his ills, actually poses a threat to their agenda and to their establishment. And people are crossing their arms going, nah, he's not good enough. You know, it's like, what's the point? Like, just fucking cast a vote and, like, yeah, maybe he loses anyways. Like, we're all Orthodox Christians. We're not going to freak out if he loses. Like, at the end of the day, like, even if he wins, we don't know what's going to happen. You know, the shit could get really bad either way. But it's like, dude, I just hope that people have enough disdain and contempt for this establishment to be willing to support the person that, for whatever else you want to say about him, very clearly is their enemy, and very clearly they do not want to win. You know,
Well,
that's
see,
sort
that's
of my
just
take.
well, see, that's kind of where we disagree a little bit because I don't really see him. In a sense, like both things can be true at the same time, right? He can be an enemy in a sense, and also in another sense, he could be, you know. But that's where the discernment comes in. So,
Sure.
um,
So
like
let's simplify this. What ways do you think that he is not their enemy,
um,
or for what reasons?
it's I mean, like okay, so you mentioned anomaly in one of your streams,
Yeah.
like all of his critiques and stuff. Like it's really difficult for me to just like go line by line
Sure. Maybe like
and
the donor
go through
money.
all.
Are you thinking of like the donor money he received from Big Pharma, or the Israel support, or the printing of fiat currency? I know these are probably takes you would have, right?
Well, I mean, and like you always mentioned his ties with that nation and
Yep.
everything, and all the critiques that you have.
Yep.
Those are your same critiques. I
Right.
have the same critiques. It's just that I'm a little bit more. Um, I've given up in a sense that when it comes to American politics, but
Sure.
I don't.
Sure.
Yeah, but
So let's talk about those things, right? So fiat printing of fiat currency. That's the way that our country has operated for decades. You know, you had what's his name, Alan Greenspan or whatever on Fox or CNN like 20
we
years
just print
ago,
the
and
money, right?
we just print the money. It will never go into default because we just print more of it, and that's he sort of said the quiet part out loud there. So imagine you're Trump. You come into this system. You're trying to understand how it operates. You look at the last 40 years, and oh, okay, they just print the money. Okay, well, what did he do with some of that money? He literally handed it to us. COVID's going on. He's trying to figure it out. Now, obviously, even like a high school economic student would tell you, yo, that's bad for the economy. You shouldn't just print, half of all the money that's ever been printed or whatever, within a year or two, and give it to businesses and corporations and individuals. Like, that's not going to help you out long term. But that's his mindset is like, well, something's got to be done. This government prints money out of thin air. It doesn't even matter because it's all based on America's going to be here tomorrow and America's the superpower, and so we can do that. So do it, but use it for good. Now, yeah, that's ridiculous, and obviously that needs to be addressed and that needs to be fixed. But that's not going to matter if the election system's fraudulent, if we can't trust our elections. That's not going to matter if America collapses or if we enter into a world war with nations that are going to defeat us. It's not going to matter if we have a political oligarchy that has unchallenged power in our country. So I think he was trying to solve issues now, with the understanding that, yeah, this is going to have to get sorted out in the future. But these people already print money, and so, yeah, he prints money too, right? So I don't think that
Yes,
automatically means that he's like the establishment because he did the same thing they do. It seems like that's the tool that he has to use to try to get what he
I
wants
think
done.
right, and I think you give a bit benefit of the doubt. Understandable. I don't give them that benefit of the doubt though. I just assume they're lying in everything they say.
Okay, gotcha. Well, see, I don't think that's
Eh,
a healthy view because it's like there's nothing wrong with being skeptical. There's nothing wrong with looking at somebody with
I'm a
a
little more
squint eye.
cynical than the average person,
Sure,
right?
but it's
So
not just that I'm talking to you. I'm also talking to the audience and anybody listening. And so I'm trying to make the point that, there's nothing wrong with being skeptical. You should be. God gave us our brains for a reason, right? We shouldn't always give the benefit of the doubt, especially to known liars. But what I'm saying is that you got to have evidence or proof or even a motive for why they would lie. Because this is something I get into a lot with leftists, is they go, well, they're all liars. Both sides are liars. And I go, well, okay,
yeah, that's right.
but what's the motive for that? What is he lying for? So you think Trump's a part of the establishment because he printed? So what's his goal? What's his goal? And if you say, well, his goal is because he's the same as the establishment, then why go through everything he went through? Why did he get shot at? Why is he having lawfare done against him where he spends 8 hours a day, every day for months in a courtroom? Why did he lose millions of dollars from his businesses? Why is he going through all of this nonsense and traveling the country and spending hours and hours every day, all day, weeks on end doing this stuff? If he's controlled opposition, if he's a part of the establishment, there's a million times easier ways that he could have done everything he did and also live the nice pampered lifestyle of the establishment shills. You see a Bill Gates, he's not doing this. He's living on an island getting back rubs every day. That's how those people act. That's some of the proof I'm talking about. That proves
that's how. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, that just points into the direction that no, actually, he's not a part of their club. No, actually, he's not in their team because he's doing things that don't logically compute for somebody who would be.
Well, right. I understand that. I just it's like undoing like the 200-year failed experiment and a couple of elections.
Yeah.
I mean, I just like you have a lot of good points on why you are like this is like you got to do this because this is like the bitter end. And as far as like time is up, you got to do something about this. Like your point of view about it. I just kind of think that like it would take. I mean, like he's not the king.
No.
He can't just undo everything that they've done.
Right. Yeah,
And
that's what's so dumb
I mean,
about the Q stuff, right? That's what's so dumb about it is they act like he is, like he's a secret king.
well, I mean, right. Well, I just, I mean, like, I can't imagine he would undo all of everything by himself with whoever he's got behind him.
Yeah.
And
He doesn't have to. He doesn't have
We'll
to.
see. Like, go ahead.
All he has
yeah,
to do is
okay.
all he has to do is get the ball rolling. All he has to do is prosecute a couple of these people, right? De-incentivize.
He doesn't have the power to do that. He doesn't have the.
He has
Yeah, right.
he has the power and the influence, right? And if he can get people in the Congress and the legislative branch who is willing to exercise, because the legislative branch does have the power to do that, and there are many people in the legislature, or at least a few, who are fighters, as Don Jr. called them when he was talking to Tucker during that interview. He goes, we
Right.
need these people who are fighters to use the power that they actually have right now, but are unwilling to use. Right, and so what he can do is he can de-incentivize some of their things. He can try to wrench some of the power out of their hands. If even just fixing the election system, he can push that ball down the road, and the people can vote in people who can push the ball further. It's not about fixing everything right now. It's about what direction are we going? Are we getting worse or are we getting better? And he's trying to get it better.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's it.
You're very hopeful. You're really hopeful about this.
Because I love God. I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful in God, dude. It's like I know it's in God's hands.
Well, see,
it's like it might go good, it might go bad.
Well, see, that's where we agree. I'm hopeful. I'm just not hopeful in the system and the failed experiment of America.
But it's people. It's not necessarily the system. It's God works through people, right? And every empire, every nation has a system, but it's the people who are actually behind the system. I don't have to have faith in the system.
And if he does get in and things slow down a little bit, it's because of God's grace, of course.
Mm-hmm.
It's not it's it's all that, but I don't know, I'm just really cynical, bro.
Yeah, no, I hear you, dude, and that's why I thought it would be very helpful to have you on to have that conversation, because there's a lot of people that are cynical. There's a lot of people that share that same view, and so it's helpful to have this conversation so that people who have that view can see that even though you might see my posts and go, oh, this guy don't get it, or oh, we're so different. We're not different. Like, we're on the same page. It's just if you spend the time and you look at the facts and you analyze the events, it's like you'll see and understand where I'm coming from here. The biggest problem is that cynicism that they've spread is a tool that they've used against us. It's an arrow that they fired against us.
It's true. That's true, and I agree with that. I do agree with that.
You got to fight against that.
We can't be not hopeful and what's the word I'm looking for?
Well, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's like, yeah, we can't do anything, so don't do anything,
despondent.
And then they win. Yeah, despondent.
We're not supposed to be despondent. That's like a sin. And I'm not despondent in that sense. It's just, we on everything that's the nuance that you talk about and everything, we agree on all that. It's just, it's just we kind of go a little sideways on a couple of things. But
well, let's
other than
simplify
that,
2016. Okay, we're having this same conversation. You vote for Trump, he gets elected, he overturns Roe v. Wade, and now, at least in Texas, less babies are dying. Was it worth it? I'd say it was worth
Yeah,
it. Now,
sure, right.
2024, you vote for Trump, even though we're not, he's not perfect. We're not expecting, much from him. We've got a very low bar, a low expectation from him. He gets in, seals the border, deports the worst criminals. Probably isn't going to deport them all, but deports the worst criminals that have gotten over. And then one less person gets raped and murdered on our streets. Was it worth it? I'd say so. That's my whole point. It's worth it to get him
Yeah,
in. It's worth it to vote for him, regardless of how disillusioned we are with the system. Like, it's really important to us that he wins, because if he doesn't, there's going to be far too much needless death and suffering in our country and around the world. If we go to war with Russia, that's going to be real bad, dude. Like, look at what they did in Ukraine. They've got the young men in Ukraine hiding in their houses. They've got phone apps to tell them where the army recruiting officers are. They're afraid to go to the grocery store because they know they're going to be asked for their ID and signed up for the draft. They're going to do that here, dude. If they disarm us as a people and then we go to war with Russia, they're going to do that here. And then you and I are going to be very likely faced to a situation where we have to go and kill Orthodox Christians in Russia or at home because of these bastards. Like, we can avoid that possibly. That's in God's hands if we do. But if he wants to help us avoid that, he's going to work through us, And so it's like, it's important to not be disillusioned. It's important to do that bare minimum of, yeah, I believe in the system, but I'll cast the vote for the guy because I hate the enemy so much. Like that, there's no
right.
reason not to. That's my whole point.
I see myself in you like from 2016. Like I kind of see like that attitude and that
Sure.
positiveness and everything, and I appreciate it, and I applaud you for it, and I don't go against that or anything. It's
Yeah.
just
Well, I see myself in you because 4 months ago I was saying exactly what you're saying now. You get what I'm saying? Like
well, see,
I was also in
I,
2016. I was hopeful. I was very hopeful in 2016. I've been following. I listened to every Trump rally throughout 2016 and 2020. I was following that very closely, and I know you and I talked about it behind the scenes. Like, I was very much hopeful, and then 2020 came, Koof came, and I got disillusioned, and I was like, oh, he's one of them. It's all BS. And now here I am back again to tell you guys, it's bullcrap. It's a oversimplification. This is a weapon they've used against us. Like, there's no reason not to. Like, everything you've said, all of your points, we've already established, we agree on it. There's no valid logical reason why you wouldn't, at the bare minimum, just vote for the guy. There's no logical reason why not to. Being disillusioned, that's fine. Not having hope in the system, that's fine. But still, maybe he'll do one good thing. Maybe he'll prevent one bad thing. There's no reason not to. We all know what's going to happen if Kamala wins. Roundabout.
right. Well, I think that was productive.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
Um,
Me too.
we don't have to go through the comment thread, but
Yeah, that's fine.
lots of stuff gets misconstrued and lost in translation and comment sections and everything. So,
Yeah. Well, I love you,
um,
bro. And I'm sorry for being a jerk.
well, you're passionate, and I salute you for that. And God bless you for that. I'm not passionate about it though.
I hear you.
but
Well, you're
but
passionate
I
about
am,
Christ, and that's important.
well, I ain't mad at you, and I appreciate that. God bless you and everything, and and I hope your hopefulness rubs off on me a little bit.
Well, God bless you
You
too,
know,
bro. Yeah.
we're Southern too, so like you're
Yep.
from up north, so we kind of have a little different attitude about everything. If
For
you're
sure.
Southern, I think you might understand a little bit better. But
For sure. Well, I lived in the South for a little while, and I definitely developed a deep appreciation for the South, and it changed my whole view on the Confederacy and the Civil War, and it taught me about bluegrass and the amazing, Appalachian music and everything. So I have a deep love for the South, but I am definitely a Yankee, so it is what it is,
well,
man.
well, that's good that you understand that, because that kind of really kind of paints my worldview. Being from
Oh,
the
yeah.
South, and
Oh, yeah.
my worldview is different than. And the South is a really special place.
It is.
It's 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 ethnically diverse and it's not forced.
Yep.
It's and everything that Hollywood portrays about the South is a lie.
Yeah, it's a
It's
psyop, dude. It's been a
if
huge
you look at
psyop, anti-South.
from what you just said, you totally understand. You totally get it. I don't even have them to explain.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, dude.
But
I got totally red pilled when I moved down south, dude. I mean, I was reading books by Confederate generals. Everybody's telling me, bro, you don't know nothing. Like I learned a whole lot, dude, a whole lot. So we're on the same page with that too.
well, I appreciate you, and I'm glad we talked a little bit on here, and I look forward to it again. I guess soon. I guess.
Yeah, absolutely, brother. God bless you. Thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate you.
God bless you, man. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. That was Blocksky, dude. Kang Blocksky, man. So Block Party Vintage has been a friend of mine on the internet for 5-6 years now. He was one of the OGs in the Jay Dyer chat, in the Tristan Primal Edge Health chat. And yeah, just a great dude. And so I probably shouldn't run through the whole convo we had, but I got very, passionate and sort of frustrated with some of the argumentation styles he had because, like I said while we were talking, I mean, this is just the conversation I've been having with so many people. I was talking with a friend from church, her husband, same view that Blocksky had, and we talked for probably 3 hours on the phone, and I laid everything out. And that's the most frustrating thing is all of the people you see out there on the internet that are sharing this view, it's the same view that I have, just not taken to its logical conclusion. This is why I'm out here like trying to yell it from the rafters. Like, guys, like, you see me wearing the Trump hat. You see me going, yo, vote for Trump. It's not because I'm Boomer Q-tard guy. It's because I'm the same guy as you guys. It's just I follow this stuff very closely. And like, if you're the kind of person that thinks that Trump is controlled opposition, Trump's the establishment, he's the same, you need to watch his interviews. Watch 3-hour-long interviews with him. Watch interviews with Don Jr., his son. Watch interviews with Tucker Carlson and Alex Jones, people who are very close to the actual Trump campaign. RFK Jr., Steve Bannon, all of these people, they're human beings. They are not a part of the establishment. They do not have the same goals that the establishment has, and that's a really important distinction to make. Okay, what's the establishment done for the last couple of decades? They have spent millions of our dollars, billions of our dollars, years and years of work and effort and study and scientific experimentation and studies to try to figure out how best to mass manipulate the population, how best to control the narrative, to create these structures of control. And Trump has literally gone in there with a sledgehammer and done so much damage to their system. That doesn't mean that Trump's a great guy. He's a hero. He's not. We disagree on very important values. You get what I'm saying? We disagree on very important issues. He's not a superhero. He's not an amazing guy. He's a flawed human being. He's the enemy of our enemy, period. He's the enemy of the establishment that we despise, which loathes us, and which we as good people loathe. That's my point. That's the biggest and most important part of it, is to understand that, look, it's understandable to not really care about the establishment or the system or the political, game or whatever, but it's not understandable to be an adult human being, a man in the world right now when the barbarians are at your gates and you're not willing to lift a finger to stop them. There's nothing good about that. There's nothing virtuous about that. There's nothing, superior about that. And all the people that share that view tend to take this condescending, attitude of like, oh man, you just don't get it. And it's like, no, you don't get it. You know what I mean? I fully understand. I'm not talking about Blocksky. Round of applause for Blocksky, everybody coming in and actually, having the conversation and stuff. I have so much respect when people do that. But the point is like, that's the situation we're in. The barbarians are at the gates. Our country has been invaded. We are controlled by the most pathetic people in the world. And it's very frustrating when people who should know better share this view that they're monolithic and that they're in complete control and they control everybody and there is no opposition and there is no way to defeat them. That's BS, dude. These people are pathetic. They're losers. They're obvious on their face, shills and parasites, and you see them, you know them when you see them. Trump is, you know him when you see him. He's got flaws. He's got problems. I have problems with him. I wish I could get into a room with him and just like, beat him over the head with a stick for a little bit. But the fact is like, this is who God has put in place to oppose the establishment. This is who we've been given, I learned when I went traveling and I started hopping trains, I quickly learned, I was a young kid, 18 years old. One of the first life lessons I learned is the world isn't how you want it to be. The world's not, your fantasy, your utopia. Well, that's not fair. It should be like this. The world is how it is. You either deal with it or you don't. You either fantasize about how you think it should be or you engage with the world as it is. And that's exactly the kind of attitude we need to have with Trump. Yeah, I wish I had a better guy up there. Honestly, I wish Don Jr. was the candidate and not Trump, because Don Jr. is a young man. He clearly understands the enemy better than his father does, and would probably be far more hardline against the establishment than Trump is. Trump is he's almost there, but he's not quite there yet. He doesn't quite really fully grasp it yet. At least it certainly seems that way. So it's frustrating. But regardless of how badly I wish things were different, that's not the world. That's not reality. And so you can cross your arms and you can wait for them to come in and take your firearms, at which point we're done. We're screwed. That really is the line in the sand. That really is the finish line when it comes to us actually having a voice in this country. It's the only reason we have a voice. It's not because, oh yeah, little, Jerry or conservative dad in the suburbs or hillbilly up in the mountains with his AR-15 is gonna stop the nuclear weapons. It's not about that. They're never gonna use nuclear weapons on their own people. It's about the fact that it's dangerous for them to try to step too far. It's dangerous for them to try to overreach their power too quickly. That's why they have to baby step it. Look at Europe. Look at Australia. Look at all these other places. They are just boot on the face every day. You're going to jail for a Facebook post, peasant. Shut up. That's what they're doing. That's the only reason that's not here right now. That's the only reason that we're going through this baby step process. So make no mistake. If we lose this election, they're going to rapidly push for dearming, confiscation, all of that. And then it really is done. Then it really is go inside, pray, which you should be doing anyways, but pray and do what your master says, because you have no say in what happens now. So you got to understand, like, it is so important for you. At the very least, don't counter signal. Don't freaking go out there and spread these nonsense conspiracy theories. Oh, he's part of the establishment. Stop doing their work for them, dude. These people suck. Let them manipulate the people. Let them try to spread their propaganda. As a free, intelligent human being, you should be out there speaking the truth. And at the very least, like, when you see somebody shooting at them, hand them some ammunition, distract the enemy. Do anything but take the gun out of the guy's hand. You know what I'm saying? Like, so God bless everybody. I do hope that that helped some people. And we can go ahead and finish this PJW video real quick. But yeah, this cat thing, I've been talking to a lot of people about the cat video. I do think that this is a Haitian illegal immigrant, even though there's lots of articles now being spread around by people saying, no, she's an Ohio resident. Oh, yeah, she looks like an Ohio resident. That's why she killed a cat. Okay, so the neighbor in this video, the police then asked the woman, did you eat that cat? Did you kill? And she says, she shakes her head no. And goes, then why'd you kill the cat then? Then they talk to the neighbor and they say, what's going on? And they said, we just drove up and she was in the middle of a street with this dead cat eating it. Does that sound like a Springfield, Ohio resident to you? Does this woman look like a Springfield, Ohio resident to you? There's some serious, BS going on right now where these Haitian illegal migrants, because they're refugees, because they're asylum seekers, are being given driver's licenses. They have enough money to be driving minivans around. And like I said, I've got videos posted I could pull up of an independent journalist walking around talking to the locals and saying, what do you call it? And saying, we don't know how they're getting their driver's license, and you can guess why that is. Because oftentimes you need a driver's license to vote, and that's the number one thing. There's independent journalists on YouTube right now spreading going around and talking to the migrants directly in Spanish and having a translator there and going, who are you going to vote for? And every single one of them says Kamala Harris. Every single one of them. Because they know this is the person that I'm going to get benefits for. So if they can get these people to vote, it's a very big problem. Randy says, I love you. And I'm still voting for Trump, but I disagree with a lot. But I don't want to talk about bagels on YouTube. You don't disagree. We're agreed. You know, we both feel the same about Israel, dude. We both feel exactly the same about Israel. And if you and I were to have the conversation, which we can do it on Rumble, we could do it all sorts of ways. It would go exactly like this one went. You'd find out, oh, actually, he feels the exact same way I do. As for Israel, I mean, we could talk all day about Israel, and I don't even think that Trump himself personally, like, even though he's supported Israel a lot, like I think that Israel hasn't really supported Trump very much, and I think that he is making a calculated decision for the election to sort of continue on with his signaling of, oh, we're going to let them finish their job. I think it'll be very interesting to see if Trump gets elected, what he does with Israel. I'll just put it that way. I highly doubt that Trump's going to get in get in there and is going to say, oh, you know what would help America? Giving Israel $10 billion or $20 billion or $50 billion to go blow up Gaza. Chances are he's going to try to get them to negotiate a peace deal. Chances are Israel's going to get the stuff that they want, and Palestine's going to get the boot. But I highly doubt it's going to be, oh, finish genociding those people in Gaza. Finish destroying, you know, every Palestinian woman and child and build the greater Israel. I don't see that happening. It might happen, and that sucks. And like you say here, like you're still voting for Trump. I get it. My point is that I would make if you weren't is like there's more important things to talk about right now. Like, it's not going to matter. I'm not going to give two shits about Israel when I can't even buy an apartment or rent an apartment or buy a house because demand is up so high because the state has used my money to buy apartments for illegal immigrants, and the supply is not, you know, raising it. He's going to finish the job in his own words. And yeah, so you know, I kind of beat you to it there. The whole finish the job thing, he's campaigning. And he's got to signal to Israel, I'm going to help you out. But what he campaigns on in that sense doesn't guarantee that that's what he's going to do. If you were him, wouldn't you do the same? If you were him, do you think it would be smart to come out and go, Israel, screw you. You know, you didn't support me enough. We can't afford to fund any more wars. Screw you. Don't you understand how powerful AIPAC is in this country? The billions and billions of dollars they have that they can then spend to fight against your campaign. They can buy YouTube ads. They can buy rally space. They can pay off politicians to fight against you every step of the way. So regardless, I mean, we have to follow the facts, right? He has said, oh, finish the job, the whole finish the job thing. He has said that. And so, yeah, I'm kind of, you know, giving my little personal conspiracy theory on that. But again, because I have more important issues in Israel, like it's not anything that's going to persuade me to not vote for Trump. And because the opposition is also very much supportive of Israel and is also going to give Israel far more money than Trump would, I think it's a moot point. I think it's a non-issue. I think that even though it's important to me, I care very much about Israel. I care very much about the Orthodox Christians who are murdered in Palestine. You know, like, yeah, I'm not happy about that either. I detest Israel. I detest the Jewish faith. Come get me, AIPAC. Come get me, ADL. I despise the Jewish religion. I think it's every synagogue is a temple of demon worship. They're disgusting, and they are disgusting in the eyes of God. I'm right there with you. Okay, I'm not a Jew fan. I'm also not an anti-Semite either. Like, there's a bunch of Jewish people who have no clue what their religion is. The same way Islam is a detestable, disgusting religion. I know there's plenty of moderate Muslims, aka Muslims who don't know what their faith actually is, who don't know what their religion actually entails, just like there's many Jews who don't actually know what their religion entails, who, you know, they're decent people. They're in many ways based people. Modest people, people who try to live a virtuous life, good for them. Glory to God. If they actually care about the truth and they actually analyze their beliefs, maybe they'll get somewhere. Maybe God will lead them somewhere. But the whole Israel and warp speed are Trump's two biggest freaking Achilles heels that, you know, I'm just like, dude, why doesn't he talk about this stuff? But he did talk about it. He did do the interview where he said, I didn't know anybody there. I didn't know what I was doing. I did the best I could. And anybody who's being realistic, anybody who understands like the environment that is the swamp, the Washington D.C. estate, like, bro, like that's the game you have to play. You can't an unfair critique. Like, the dude would not have won had he not supported Israel, and had Israel not supported him, he wouldn't have won. Period. We wouldn't be having this conversation right now. So unfortunately, even though as an Orthodox Christian I have my personal views, I have the things that I would do in that situation if given the chance, I don't hold him to that same standard, number one, because he's not an Orthodox Christian. He doesn't know as much as we do, as scary as that is to think. Like, it's just the truth. He knows a lot more than we do on a lot of things, but there's certain things that we know more about than him because he just doesn't, have the fullness of truth. I don't hold him to the same standard. I hold him to a very low bar, like, do the basic things that you campaigned on, which we already have evidence for that he will do. He did that in 2016. He campaigned on trying to repeal Obamacare. What happened in 2016, if you guys remember, as soon as he got elected, he went headfirst to Obamacare. Paul Ryan, the Speaker of the House, he trusted him. He thought, hey, Speaker of the House, Republican, young, handsome guy, this is going to be my guy. And what happened? We spent 3, 4, 5, 6 months wasted trying to repeal Obamacare. And then Trump just said during the debate, I had a choice to make. I could either let it rot, which would have been good politically for me, because then Obama's Health Care Act would have rotted and everybody could have pointed to it and say, look at that terrible thing the Democrats did, or I could try to make it as best as I could. I could do the best I could with what I had, and I chose to do that because that was my responsibility to the American people, to not let their healthcare system rot. That's who he is. Like, again, we have to deal with the world as it is. Deal with the establishment, with the system as it is. Not say, gee, it would be so much better if this were an Orthodox theological monarchy. That's what I wish it was, and so I'm just mad and screw this. It's like you're just giving them what they want, dude. Like, they're literally coming to take your gun. They're literally coming to make you a slave. And the best part about being an Orthodox Christian is, even if that happens, glory to God. I can be a slave and still achieve my salvation. But that don't mean I want to be a slave. That doesn't mean don't mean I want to have them confiscate my guns and turn me into a stranger in my own home. An outsider in my own home, the home of my fathers and grandfathers. It's messed up, dude. So it's frustrating for me to see so much sort of people in our circles talk about these things when, I'm right there with you guys, but there's more to the story than just those things.
What did you do? Why'd you kill the cat?
And I do want to say, too, guys, if you can, please consider sending in super chats, supporting the stream, and helping me out, because your boy is broke as hell. So it does help when you guys super chat. Thank you to everybody who does that. Thank you to everybody who hangs out up in the house. Dang, how much of the shindig did I miss? Moldy, you missed everything, bro. How many cats did Jerry eat live on Scream? We're up to 6 so far, but I'm thinking I got at least 10 in me by the end. I'm thinking. But we do have bets going on now. Yeah, you missed the whole thing. We had Black Party Vintage on here for a debate. We had done the first half of this video. I just went on a long-ass rant, so this is definitely one to check out after it's done. But yeah, you missed everything. But we're still going.
Smile for me.
Oh, but they conveniently forgot to mention that violent crime in America is going down, according to the FBI.
Migrant crime, and it's happening at levels that nobody thought possible.
President Trump, as you know, the FBI says overall violent crime is actually coming down in this country. But
this scumbag, dude. Actually, our report says that violent crime has gone down. Actually, they raped 2 women in my hometown. The migrants that you brought in. Actually, I have seen nonstop videos of Venezuelan migrant gangs taking over apartment buildings in Aurora, Colorado, in El Paso, Texas. Did you guys see that? El Paso, Texas recently. The same gang, Tren de Aragua. El Paso, here, I'll pull it up. El Paso, Texas. Apartment. Venezuelan gang. Was that Newsweek, I think? I forget which. I posted it. Yep, right here. Okay, one moment. Uno momento, por favor. Let's share the screen. Hotel faces legal action after Venezuelan gang takes over. The owner, and this is the video from Aurora, Colorado. This is a different one, but there's actually a whole other thing. The owner of a Texas hotel faces legal action due to an alleged violent criminal activity involving suspected members of the Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua, which has been under the spotlight in the run-up to the 2024 election. So this isn't just in Aurora, Colorado. This is happening all over America. Literally. All over America. You got gangs of Venezuelans who just hopped the border, walking around with fully automatic rifles, taking over property. And you know what happens in Colorado or sanctuary cities when they do that? You call the police and you go, hey, I just went to work, and when I came home, there were armed, violent Venezuelan drug dealers who are in this country illegally living in my house now. I can't even live here. I got kids. I can't stay here. You know what they say? Well, technically, those guys are squatters now. There's nothing we can do. They're squatters. They just broke and entered. They have guns, like, illegally. Like, what do you mean there's nothing you can do? Technically, this is a sanctuary city, so we can't ask them if they're legally here. We can't contact ICE to deport them. We can't get any of the charges to stick because there's nothing we can do. Sorry, our hands are tied. Sorry. How disgusting is that? And then you got this jerk off on this debate saying, oh, actually, President, violent crime's gone down. Scumbags, dude.
Excuse me, the
Harris, I'll
FBI
give you
Wrong. The data put out by the FBI doesn't even include major metropolitan areas, including Los Angeles and New York, where crime is historically high. The LAPD and NYPD are the two largest police forces in America, but they're not included in the FBI data. We're still forced to endure the narrative that Trump's a threat to democracy, when the Democrats literally just presided over a coup to kick Joe Biden out of office and replaced her with a woman who no one voted for.
She got
Yeah, Randy says he's in Colorado, and yeah, I also lived in Aurora, Colorado for a month and a half. My brother lived in Denver, and so I went down to see him like towards the beginning of my traveling days. And so I lived in Denver. I lived near Aurora, and so believe me, I know, I know how bad Aurora was for quite a long time. But you didn't have gangs of Venezuelan migrants who are here illegally taking over entire apartment complexes while the police did nothing about it. I mean, it's getting worse, right? But I hear you. It's definitely it has definitely always been rough. But I would rather deal with the rough people who are here legally than to deal with people who they don't even know their names, and they have completely cucked the law enforcement to be able to do anything about it. J.D. Vance said after the interview, I really wanted him to debate Kamala. I think he's supposed to still debate Kamala, or not Kamala, Walz, which would be great to see, because Walz is such a freaking pedo creep. Like, I would love to see Walz and JD go up against each other. That would be lovely. Live 20 minutes south of Jim Bob? Nice, dude, nice. Denver was one of my least favorite places to go. I traveled to Denver probably when all is said and done. I think I've been there about 6 or 7 times. For that first time I was there for like a month and a half. Second time I was there for like 2 weeks, 4 weeks. You know, I'd spend like, a couple of weeks at a time. And every time I went back to Colorado in general, I hated it more and more and more and more and more. And it's such a shame because it's such a beautiful spot of the country, such a great history, like just amazing, it should be an amazing place, but my God, like talk about a place that you go to and you just like feel evil in the air, It's just truly like become such a hellhole. John MC says, Denver was a shithole in 1970. Yeah, I believe it. I absolutely believe it.
no votes. He got 14 million votes. What you talk about a threat to democracy. He got 14 million votes, and they threw him out of office. And you know what? I'll give you a little secret. He hates her.
Megyn Kelly reacted by skewering ABC News for doing everything they could to help Kamala.
I'm disgusted. I'm ashamed of those moderators at ABC News. They did exactly what their bosses wanted them to do. The person who runs ABC News is a close personal friend of Kamala Harris, that is responsible for Kamala Harris and her husband meeting. And they did Dana Walden's bidding tonight. It was 3 against 1 on that debate stage this evening.
RFK Jr. also went off on them.
Fortunately, we had moderators who were clearly biased, who were constantly fact-checking Donald Trump. None of these kind of whoppers that the vice president was saying, and none of her failure to really explain that, answer that first question, that very, very critical first question. They simply sat there on the sidelines and allowed that to pass.
The bias of the ABC News moderators was clearly one of the biggest stories to come out of the debate. Yet you wouldn't really know that if you only read post-debate reporting by the legacy media. Thanks to Ground News, the sponsor of today's video.
All right. Enough with the sponsorship. But yeah, no, I think the fact that he went into the Lion's Den, he stood up, you know, going into a debate where he knew it was going to be rigged against him. They knew it was going to be, he knew it was going to most likely go bad for him. They knew that it wasn't going to be like CNN. I think that's just one more credit. It shows his character. You know, when he almost got, you know, his head blown off and he stood up, that shows his character. That's a moment of bravery that we would all hope to act the same way in that time. And so at the end of the day, even though, yeah, Trump should have done better, he should have been, you know, there's a lot of stuff I wish he would have said or done or whatever. The guy's 78 years old, and he's still got, you know, somebody made a comment on my post the other day on YouTube and said, Trump's got absolutely no energy left. You know, he's done. And I think that's so unfair. The dude's 78 years old. He's out there campaigning every day, doing all of these interviews, doing 4-hour-long rallies. And you're like, he's got no energy left because they did a freaking debate where he went up against a girl who's at least 20 or 30 years younger than him and who is just a hollowed-out shill ready for whatever message or person that they want to pump into her. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. So, you know, I think this idea of him having no energy is bullcrap. And I think you got to take into account the fact that, you know, he's old. Even though he's far smarter than her, even though he's far more equipped to lead in every way, you know, you got to give the guy credit that he's willing to even do that and do that with no fear and just be willing to stand on the truth. Like, I know what I believe. I know what I'm running on. I know they're full of crap. I'm not even going to bother preparing. I'm just going to go in there and speak the truth. And frankly, I wish he wouldn't have done the debate. I wish he would have backed out of it. They probably told him that was going to look bad, but I wish he would have never did it. But even though he did it, I still think that it's good for Trump because it shows the bravery, it shows the bias. Even the most retardo liberal Democrat cannot deny the fact that was a very biased debate. And I don't know, bottom line, it was so orchestrated and so calculated. The fact that right after the debate, Taylor Swift announced her endorsement of Kamala Harris. They had that shit in the pipe ready to go. It was a 1-2 punch. Get the sound bites from Kamala, make Trump look as bad as possible. Boom, Taylor Swift, bow, bow. That's what they got. And how hilarious that that's what they got. Not to underestimate that, because there is just a legion of Swifties who, you know, I'm sure will be influenced. But those people were probably going to vote for Kamala anyways. But there may be a lot of undecided voters that they convince, you know, from last night. At the end of the day, I still got to give Trump credit. The debate wasn't exactly how I would have wanted it to be, but it definitely was better than the sort of shit show that a lot of people think it was. That dude is just a transhuman freak to talk about RFK Jr. The fake tan and the human growth hormone testosterone replacement therapy has him looking like a mongoloid. Well, he certainly does not look very well. The fake tan, I mean, I definitely can see like a tan, I guess. I don't know if it's fake or not. There's definitely times where it seems like there is. I know Trump himself wears makeup and does it's nasty. It's just a whole different way of living life, a whole different way of, again, different values, right? These are not people who live life the way I do, look at life the way I do, and don't have my same values, and don't have my same worldview. And so, yeah, I mean, I got you there. Now, I think to say he's a transhumanism freak, I don't know anything about that. I don't know if he is or not. Doesn't seem like he is. Everything I've ever heard from RFK Jr., everything I've ever heard from RFK Jr. has been stuff that I am all for. You know, the fact that he is saying that, you know, if Trump wins, he's basically going to be impaneled to look into childhood autism and basically fix our food system. I think that's wonderful. The concession speech he gave when he endorsed Trump was an amazing speech. It was really good. He brought receipts. He just spoke plainly, the facts of the matter. This is what I want, and it seems like he wants to do good things. So, you know, I think that it's, I don't know. I don't think he deserves the hate that he gets. I don't see why we would hate on him. I guarantee, you know, I made a comment on the Tucker Carlson Instagram clip where he was talking about Jesus discovering his divinity in the woods, nature, or whatever. And the comment that I posted got 800 likes. That was the most liked comment I've ever made, where I was saying, look, I support Trump. I'm glad RFK Jr. is involved. I think they'll do great, but that's bullcrap. Like, that's not true. This was the worst part of the interview. This is dumb. And it got like 800 likes, and it got all of these comments and stuff. And so I'm all for critiquing them. I'm all for calling them out when they're wrong. I'm all for holding their feet to the fire. But I think we just got to do better and not insult and sort of attack and be like, I don't know if is he a transhumanism guy? Did he? I don't know. He could be. I don't know much about him. Randy says he's anti-gun. I heard a lot of stuff from him I didn't like when he was running for president. And I got to be honest, I thought, you know, he was talking about climate change at one point and anti-gun and all this stuff. I think he was doing that to try to win the support of Democrats. I really do. I think he was trying to make himself more valuable as an asset to the Trump campaign. He knew he wasn't going to win. He knew there was no chance of him winning. And so I honestly viewed a lot of those things as very likely just BS that he was saying to try to steal votes from the Democrats. Now, that could be wrong. That could be right. I have no idea. That might actually be what he really believes. Maybe he really is anti-gun and climate change and all this stuff. But honestly, I don't care if he is, because if Trump wins, he's not going to have any authority to take guns. So, but if that's true, then like shame on him. I'm referring to the video where he was shirtless doing push-ups. He had so much bronzer on, he looked like he works outside all day on the construction site. Yeah, that's nasty, dude. That's nasty.
Instead of arguing with that crazy uncle of yours, you can use ground news to show them.
Oh,
they
for
might
God's
only be
sakes,
getting
dude.
one
Come on
side.
now. I thought we were over this. Okay.
News. Trump fact-checked 4 times. Harris was fact-checked 0 times. Your Davis pressed Trump 6 times for follow-ups, and they pressed Kamala 0 times for follow-ups.
It was obviously 3-on-1, but I think we did great.
Trump, the sky is blue. Moderator, well, actually, that's false. A study says the sky is green. Kamala, the moon is made of cheese. Moderator, okay, next question. When Trump wasn't being filibustered by fake fact-checks, he did have some shining moments, landing a significant punch when it came to the subject of late-term abortions.
Will she allow abortion in the 8th month, 9th month, 7th month?
Come on.
Okay, would you do that? Why don't you ask her that question?
Why don't you answer
That's the
question?
problem.
Would you
because
veto?
under Roe v.
Answer
Wade,
the question. Would you veto?
you could do abortions in the 7th month, the 8th month, the 9th
That's
month,
not true.
and probably after
That's
birth.
not true, she says. Really, that's not true? Actually, I was about to fact check. I think Paul Joseph Watson here fact checks it. Another very frustrating thing. I shared on Twitter the videos of ex-Virginia Governor Ralph Northam talking about we keep the babies comfortable, and a lot of things that people don't understand, people don't talk about, the normies don't know, that I'm sure everybody here knows, is that they use legalese to define a baby as unviable. So if there's a mother, she doesn't want the baby, but it's 9 months, it's ready to come out. They take that baby, they consider it a non-viable fetus, but it's a living baby outside of the womb. They keep it, they resuscitate it, right? So they can just write on a chart, it was dead, and then we resuscitated it. It's just a living baby. They keep it alive, they keep it comfortable until we got to order for a heart, we got to order for a liver, we got to order for a pancreas, we got to order for a kidney. Okay, we got all our orders in. Now execute the baby, butcher it, and sell it for parts. That's what they do. That's what they do. That's what Trump was talking about in this debate, and they fact check him and tell him that that's not true. That doesn't happen anywhere. I can show you guys the receipts that absolutely does happen. We have the hidden camera footage that came out years and years ago of the Planned Parenthood woman talk about how she paid for her Lamborghini by selling babies' body parts. You got an article that Axios released with the chart of states abortion, by state, like how long is abortion legal for, and many states are not. They have no limit. Many states have a 9-month limit. It's disgusting, dude. And they sit here and they lie to our faces like we're idiots.
Just look at the former governor of Virginia. The governor of Virginia said we put the baby aside and then we determine what we want to do with the baby.
As well as Kamala's non-existent policies.
And policies like...
Yeah, that's a very good point, Blue Skittle. I don't think he mentions it in this video either. When they of course, they started the debate all about January 6th. Every question, it's like, Trump, why do you hate puppies so much? Like, these were the kinds of questions they were asking. And of course, he talked about how Nancy Pelosi is responsible for not allowing the National Guard to go up.
They have, I don't say her because she has no policy. Everything that she believed 3 years ago and 4 years ago is out the window. She's going to my philosophy now. In fact, I was going to send her a MAGA hat. She's gone to my philosophy. But if she ever got elected, she'd change it.
He also won the most viral moment of the evening.
Big on defund the police. In Minnesota, she went out. Wait a minute. I'm talking now. If you don't mind, please.
That was a great
Does that
part.
sound familiar? She went out.
And his closing statement was also powerful.
So she just started by saying she's going to do this, she's going to do that, she's going to do all these wonderful things. Why hasn't she done it? She's been there for 3.5 years. They've had 3.5 years to fix the border. They've had 3.5 years to create jobs and all the things we talked about. Why hasn't she done it?
The same media.
That was the thing I was most happy he got out. If he didn't get that message out, that entire debate, like, that would have been such a L. That would have been such, because that's the low-hanging fruit, right? The critiques I can make for that debate was he definitely got angry. He got riled up the whole time. He sounded angry, and I can't blame him for that. Can you imagine? Hang on, Can you imagine being in a room with Kamala Harris, knowing what Trump knows, knowing the kind of person she is, the things she's done, who and what she represents, and what she's about to do? She's about to just lie. And he's in the lion's den. Everybody around him is on her side. And not being, like, angry, not being like, God, F you, you freaking witch. But I really wish that he would have went in there cool as a clam, calm as a damn, cool as a cucumber, and just been like, you're already there. Everything you can, just do it now. I shouldn't even be here debating with you. This entire debate is rigged. These are the corporate media. The Americans don't trust the corporate media. My biggest critique of Trump, and one of the worst things that he's doing, is Trump won in 2016, not only because the establishment underestimated him, which I think probably is the main factor of why he actually won, because in 2020, obviously, he had the support. He did win. But I think the anti-establishment Trump is the winning Trump. When Trump appeals to people's disgust and distaste and dislike of the establishment and of the political class and of the government, that's what really gets his supporters going. And so if he would have just kept calm, kept cool, not played into their game, I think it would have gone so much better. And the fact that he got all angry and upset and riled really gave the establishment, like, exactly what they wanted. And it was very frustrating to see. So, yeah. We got Daniel Price up in here. Is this a troll? Man, we haven't had a dissenting troll in so long. Where is he? Did he already get banned? Where is he? Did somebody delete his message already? Good for y'all, but let me check. Let me check the all messages. Oh, here we go. Okay, he's still here. Lion's Den. You mean someplace where people aren't kissing his ass and stroking his ego? If that's the case, there's a lot of Lion's Dens for Donnie. He's a huge narcissist and a man baby. I would love to hear your definition of a narcissist, even though I actually do agree with you. He is a narcissist. I don't think he's a man baby. I think he's definitely a narcissist. He definitely has a huge ego. You're right on that. That's good qualities to have in a leader, at least right now it is. Lion's Den, you mean so again, no, that's not what I mean. I mean the very obvious biased moderation. Kamala made 16 objectively false claims. They fact-checked her 0 times, Daniel. How many times they fact-checked Trump? 4 times. Is that the way you think a debate should be moderated? Do you think when presidential debates happen, the moderators should be debating for one of the candidates? It's the job of the candidate to do the fact-checking. It's the job of the candidate to push back against their opponent. So you actually agree with that? You think that's a good way? You think that's an honest way? That's ridiculous, bro. Terrible argument. So, I mean, of course, these people, they always laugh. I know so much more than you. Call in, dude. Oh, please, get real. He does it all the time. He's a man-child with a fragile ego. Okay? Pathological lying and NPD are good qualities. I never said pathological lying. You said that. I said the fact that he is a narcissist, he has a strong ego, has helped America. It's actually kept us out of war. It's intimidated our enemies in other countries. His not being able to guess what he's going to do and being afraid of his larger-than-life presence has helped us, yes. It's not necessarily, I kind of misspoke, not necessarily a good quality for a leader to have, but it has benefited us. That's for proving why Donnie said he loved the poorly educated. Since when? What? That doesn't even make sense, bro. That's for proving why Donnie said he loved the poorly educated. Dude, you need to learn how to like string words together, because you're absolutely retarded. I found Rosie O'Donnell's secret YouTube account. Nice, dude, nice. Anyways, thanks for coming, Daniel. You're retarded. I always love to find people who show up so that I can ban them. It's great having you. Thanks for being here. Go fuck yourself. Anyways, moving on. Does Jer have a Discord server, or does everyone just use Jay's still? I am in Jay's Discord, though I really don't use Discord very much. I have a server that's like never used. Randy, are we friends on Instagram? Instagram is how I talk with people mainly. So if you want to reach out to me, you can reach me Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. If any of those platforms you're on, reach out to me there. If not, email is the best way. I started the Discord server like 5 years ago, and I'm never on Discord, so I don't want to necessarily give you, the link or whatever. Repeat child sex offenders for Trump. Okay, another one. Banned. Later. Peace out. Homegirl. Anyways, moving on. And yeah, guys, like I said, if you like the show, if you want to support the show, please feel free to send in super chats or tips. Really appreciate you guys doing that. I'm going to post the links again. We got 1 super chat so far. Can definitely use it this week, so that's why I'm shilling hard. I went the last, 10 shows without shilling, so here I am back to shilling. Anyways.
Media outlets responsible for rigging the debate naturally released polls after the fact saying that Kamala had won the debate. Now, to be fair, a lot of prominent Trump supporters aren't happy with his performance, saying he missed a lot of easy opportunities.
He did.
But post-debate, even in CNN's poll, Americans trust Trump more with the economy. ABC News admitted that Harris did a pretty bad job of explaining her policies, which is the entire point of the debate.
Vice President Kamala Harris did not do a great job today really explaining her policy shifts, right? And that is what they have been seizing on. They're really trying to define her for voters when voters have a lot of questions about her policy positions.
And comments from people in post-debate focus groups suggest that Trump's core message hit the target.
Why didn't they do all the things that she's proposing during the 3.5 years that they've been in office? And Biden did this entire moderate stance back in 2020, and she's trying to do it again in 2024, but she didn't talk about her policy changes between 2020 and 2024. Her whole centrist moderate stance is just a facade.
We've had both of the candidates in office before, and we've gotten to see what they would do. And when facts come to facts, my life was better when Trump was in office. The economy was...
What's going on, Mono? Glad to see you here. We're sort of winding down. We're at the tail end of the stream, but always good to see you, homie. I hope you're doing good.
Higher, inflation was lower. things were better overall. And now with Kamala's administration, things haven't been so fantastic. And she's saying she can fix the problems that her administration has caused, but I just don't know if I can afford to take that risk.
What do you think about Trump's performance, and should he accept a second debate? Let me know in the comments down below.
All right. Yeah, so that's... I thought that was one of the better concise videos for sort of just listing out the sort of outright blatant lies that Kamala was speaking the entire time. Like I said, I've already gone through my critiques of what I thought he could have done better. It was very difficult to watch that debate. Oh dear God, it was so painful. And yeah, I do think, like Paul was saying, you know, I think his core message did get out. Definitely gave some points to the left and to the establishment, unfortunately. But I don't think that that's necessarily going to be enough to win over enough voters. I do think, however, that the entire point of the debate wasn't to win over voters, but was to give the illusion that they could, so that when they try to cheat, it's going to be more believable. That's, I think, at the end of the day, their goal. I don't think that they can win in a fair election, so they're going to extra fortify and extra enforce and reinforce that election and yada, yada, yada. And so the entire debate, I was praying for our country. I hope everybody here will pray for our country, you know, that God's will be done and that whatever happens, happens. But, man, I really hope things go good for this country, dude. I would really love to see us avoid the future that they want to bring us to. Might be unavoidable, but at the very least, we can all sort of do the bare minimum to try to fight back against them and to not just give them the win, you know? Randy says he's thinking about doing some streams this winter. Nice, bro. That's awesome. Well, definitely reach out to me when you do. Send me the link so I can share them out. But yeah, guys, that was fun. That was a fun show. I was looking forward to doing a sort of discussion debate with somebody that disagreed with me, and so I'm glad we did that. Much love and respect to Blacksky for doing that. Thank you all so much for being here, and thank you to the person that super chatted, Deborah. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate you. Yeah, if you're watching this after the fact, definitely appreciate any tips thrown in, and I will see you guys soon. Until next time, Lil Ewok signing off. Peace out, homeboys. See you later.